Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Hope you guys are having a good day. We thought that today it would be fun to do a realistic day in the life living in a tiny house video. It'll just be, our day, but focusing on the things that we feel like are affecting us or only happening because we're living in a tiny house. From the get-go, waking up this morning in our loft bedroom. We are always woken up by our kitties. Joseph specifically is always coming up and clawing at the covers until we will let him in with our lower than not ceiling because we have our queen size mattress in our master loft. Sometimes we'd have a little bump of the ceiling getting out of bed. We kind of feel like one of the cats just crawling around to and fro. Get it!
Get the shadows. What is it? It's going after the greebles.
It's cold, so if you could, do your thing. Hi, Barney. You're kind of blocking everybody. Once we come downstairs, one of the first things we do is check the windows because when we first moved into our tiny house, we were having an issue with condensation on the windows. We aren't having that problem as much anymore, but we're still in the habit of checking it. So we will make sure they're dry. If they aren't dry, we have these reusable paper towels that we'll just dry off the windowsills with and go from there.
The colder the night is, the worse the condensation will be. But if we can keep the humidity down in the house, then there's no water to condensate in the first place. So we've been experimenting still with opening the window or, running the dry mode, which we'll talk about later.
We can talk about dry mode now.
Oh, cool. Okay. Dry mode basically is the heat pump can be a heater or an air conditioner. And so
our Mr. Cool mini split guy.
Yeah, basically it, without getting too technical, has a metal thin coil system that will get hot or get cold depending on what we're looking for in our house. In the cold setting, I don't know if you ever noticed when you run your air conditioning, there's a line that runs outside and water starts dripping when you use your air conditioning. That's condensate. Well, that condensate is moisture from the air around your air conditioner. So what our system is designed to do is turn on air conditioning, so it is blowing cold air in our house, but it runs the fan at the lowest setting possible so that the water molecules pass over as slow as possible, get cold, turn into water, and then leave our house. So it basically collects the moisture in the air and gets it out.
You walk by and you can feel the little gust because we're kind of in a hallway here, being in a tiny house. We're a 28 by 8 foot tiny house on wheels, and it's right in the middle of our space. So when you walk by, if it's on heat, you get a great gust of heat. But if it's on dry mode, it is pretty chilly. Thankfully, we've lucked out, and the things that we've been doing in our tiny house to alleviate the moisture in our space have been working. And that is the proof in the pudding? The proof of the something?
I guess so. The proof is in the pudding is a saying.
That's a saying.
Yeah.
The proof is in the pudding. With that being dry, we know that something's working. So that's awesome.
Right.
And then we just jump into our morning. We moved the air filter, which we had the prior night left out in the middle of our space. We moved that out of the way. We moved the ladder out of the way because it just gives us better sight lines when the ladder is not almost sticking out right in the middle of our living room and living area. We have a perfect little nook that we can put it right in between the refrigerator and our cabinet. So that's where we will store it. I can't even imagine how many times we move that thing in a day. I'll do a ladder counter today. I'll let you know how many times we do move it because, for example, I know that before I do yoga this morning, I need to change, so I need to go back upstairs to get some things out of there because we store our clothes currently both in 2 boxes that we have in the master loft, and then also in a cabinet that we have in the living room. And that's the best that we've found out for how it works for us so far. We tried having everything down here because we thought it would be easy and be accessible, but then we found that there are some things we wanted upstairs, socks and such, like when you're getting out of bed in the morning, maybe it's cold, you can just change up there a little bit and then come downstairs. It's been this funny game of figuring out what should go where, but at the moment that is how we have it set up. And so that's just an example of another reason that I'll need to move the ladder. But we got the cats fed in the morning. They're always around our feet as we're doing this. We don't really feel in each other's way. It's just a little dance that we kind of do as we're getting our morning going.
Yep.
And playing with the cats, clean up the house a little bit, which is great living in a tiny house because there's not as much space to clean. So it's pretty easy just giving it a little vacuum up in the morning, wipe down a couple things, put things away, and we try to keep it as clean as possible. It's never perfect, but we definitely try to do our best. And the vacuum that I've been using here has worked out really well. We bought it right before we moved into the tiny house. It is the Shark cordless wand vac. I will have it linked down below in the description if anyone wants to check it out. Someone did ask once what kind of vacuum we use, so maybe you want to know too. And it's worked out great because of how it does break apart. It just feels condensed on the ground, out of the way. Before we had a Dyson vacuum, which I love me a Dyson vacuum, don't get me wrong. But needing to have it installed on the wall just didn't seem like a feasible option for us here.
I much prefer the wand vac. Dyson, the way it's stored, was kind of very long, took up a lot of space.
And we moved it around a handful of times at our townhouse, and we'd reinstall it on the wall.
But I just really like how slim this vacuum is because it fits everywhere here. I could not fit the Dyson in a lot of places. I can fit that thing.
I use one attachment and just get all the corners first, and then I'll go around with the regular attachment. It fits under the vanity when we need to vacuum back there, under the couch. It's just been great. And we are currently munching on the breakfast that Bubby made us this morning. Then just getting ourselves together, washing my face, getting my face together, and that rounds out our typical morning.
A little bit of oatmeal and a breakfasty veggie burrito.
The cats are always under our feet, especially in the morning, and just being in a smaller space, they tend to be a little bit more needy, so we play with them a lot during the day. Foxley loves when we throw things from one side of the tiny house to the other. He's always chasing it. And we just bought these. We got a 3-pack. Okay, so we went to Target last night, and that little section where everything's $1, $3, $5, it always gets me. They have Easter stuff out right now, St. Patrick's Day stuff out right now. We got the 3-pack of carrots. They are now Foxley's toys. So he will chase them to and from. He's already pulled off the green part on one of the carrots, but he loves it. He still plays with the carrot with or without its top, and he'll also play with the top. So now it's just an extra toy. They divide into multiple toys. So that's been a joy. And you have your stick.
I'll run back and forth, dragging it behind me. I have to be moving it. He likes when it's like vibrating or something. But if I stop and he catches it, you know, he just rubs on it and he's like, okay, it's a stick, great. But the moment it's moving again, man, that thing is the enemy.
Kitty playtime, always. With breakfast almost done, next thing on our agenda is we want to start the washing machine. Living in our tiny, we don't have a lot of room for a dirty clothes hamper. So we just use the washing machine as our dirty clothes. Once it gets full enough, it's time to start the load, and that's going to be this morning. We have a Whirlpool ventless combo washing machine. If we were to do it again, we probably would not get a ventless washing machine, but once we move, we're going to move it out of the tiny house anyways to give us more space. But the reason that we did pick this washing machine from the get-go is it is the largest washer-dryer combo that was an option that we could find anywhere on the market. It's 4.5 cubic feet. We are used to having a large washer dryer and having only this as our main option. We wanted to still be able to do our comforter, do our ruggable rug, something good size, so this is what we ended up picking. But since it is ventless, there are a couple of precautions that we work with.
With the ventless washer dryer, when it's on dry, we have to put fans out to direct where the steam is going from the machine, because the steam is really just coming out of 2 spots, one in the back, one in the front. And steam is not good in a tiny house, so we've got the bathroom fan going and then a tiny little USB fan that we bought on Amazon that we use throughout the day just to move air around in the house. And then when we do the washer dryer, we just put them right next to it and it directs everything towards the bathroom.
With the combo ventless washer and dryer, we also have to make sure that we take out all of the lint that's accumulated in between the washing and drying, because typically when the washing machine and dryer are separate, you don't have to worry about the lint getting stuck in the water cycle. But with having a combo, that is an issue, and if we don't clean it out vigorously enough, we end up having to clean out a lint trap that gets backed up, causes too many suds, and then the washing machine will not work until we've cleaned it. And that process can take over an hour to drain it. So best to get as much lint out between washing and drying as possible and just keep it in tip-top shape. And then we'll turn the fans on once we switch it to the dryer. I'm sure everybody has seen our tempo workout machine that is right in the middle of our tiny house. Takes up plenty of space. It will one day be not inside of the tiny house, but we have used it probably one time since moving in here. I've turned it on a couple other times besides that.
I've updated it.
To, getting the feel. But today we were like, you know what? Let's do that yoga workout. So would I call this a, realistic day in the life? We aren't doing this every day in the life, but I want to be. It's the goal. So I figured, why not do it today? Mm-hmm. One funny thing about the tempo machine is it needs to have 6 feet in front of it for it to be able to track you and your movements properly and adjust and correct you if you have bad form with something, which it doesn't do when you're doing yoga anyways. But it's funny because the 6 feet mark you need to be at, the last time that I did it, it's literally standing in the doorway and I just have to lean back an inch or two, and then it catches me and it's like, okay, cool, now you can start the workout. Yep. And then it doesn't really matter where you're standing from there. But to start the classes, this is the funny game that I have to play. We end up taking our trash recycling compost out almost every other day or maybe every 3 days because, as you can imagine, the space is limited. We have smaller trash cans than we normally would have in our townhouse or in a regular house. So we've got these mini little office trash cans for all of these 3 things that we are now storing under our kitchen sink. This was another one of those. We started it off in different locations. We weren't exactly sure where they were going to fit, where they were going to work. For a while, we just had them at our feet, and we were always tripping over them. Yeah. In the kitchen, and it just wasn't practical. We finally found a handful of things in our tiny house that we didn't need anymore. We took it out of the tiny house, put it in our storage pod, and then that alleviated space for us to be able to fit them now under the kitchen sink, which works pretty well for the most part. Our walk to the trash isn't very far, so it's just a nice little skip over there. We are using our hold-on compostable trash bags. We use a small size. It works perfect for our little trash cans. We love that they're sustainable, compostable, vegan, cruelty-free, all the fun stuff.
I like that they're green.
They are cool and green.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I missed the holiday special when they had them all in red, like Santa bags.
What are you gonna do?
Next year we'll get on that.
Now we know.
Every day we've got some sort of tiny house project going on, and today that project is putting a foam inside of the back to our toilet because our toilet has been sweating on us. Again, one of those fun condensation things.
Today I will be insulating the toilet tank. Basically, the water that comes up from the water line is pretty cold and makes the tank cold. If there's enough moisture in our air, it will condensate on the outside of the bowl, potentially cause water damage if enough of it collects, or mold. And our toilet's so close to the wall, it's kind of hard to clean behind it. What I found online were solutions that said you can insulate the tank, or you can install what is called a sweat valve that introduces warm water to the tank. We don't want to open the walls and do some plumbing right now, so I'm going with the insulation method. That involves putting some sort of styrofoam or shipping foam or bubble wrap inside the tank between where the water and the tank is to prevent the transfer of cold. So essentially what I'm doing is draining the toilet tank, drying it out so that the silicone can stick to the side of the tank walls. And then applying the insulation evenly across. This won't work if I don't adequately seal the space off from water. So I've got to create a nice bead all along the top and the bottom, and then the seam where the insulation comes back together on itself. So let's hope it works.
Step 1 to yoga is plugging in the tempo machine.
What is up, my friends? Welcome back. Jeremy here, and we are in the final day, 10 out of 10 for part 2.
Just started our dryer, which to us means making sure that all of our spices are stacked properly, that nothing is sitting too close to the edge on our shelves, because the dryer shakes the tiny house and I don't want anything falling, so we always double check. I've learned that I need to better plan out the times of day that I'm going to be sitting at our desk, because we have so many windows in the tiny that I'm constantly fighting the sun. We didn't have an option what direction we wanted to plan our tiny house, but when we do repark it, we'll make sure that we park it in such a way that the sun is not coming directly into the spots that we sit the most. Officially cardioed out, and it is the tail end of our day. I'm ready to jump in the shower, but Jared ran out for some quick errands, including filling up one of our propane tanks. Because with our current setup, we have our hot water heater on propane, everything else is electric. I've never had anything on propane before in places that I've lived, so this is a completely new experience to me, needing to make sure that the propane tank is not empty. We have 2 propane tanks that we switch in between using. When one of them is low, we try to take it right away to refill it or exchange it. That way we never end up low on both, but right now we're low on both. So I don't want to jump in the shower quite yet until he gets here, because I'm scared that it's going to run out of hot water and end up being a cold shower. And even though it's healthy to take cold showers, they say, I'm not doing a full cold shower. that's not gonna happen. And there have been a handful of times that I'm in the shower, maybe just getting going or almost done, and the hot water will just completely cut out on me. And I'm like, well, I guess that's that, and you just have to figure it out from there. So planning is the key. Gonna wait for him to get back, then I'll have a nice and toasty shower. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. I hope that you all enjoyed our realistic day in the life living in a tiny house. If you have any living in tiny house questions, feel free to leave them down below. If you want to stay all caught up with our videos coming out on Tuesdays and Fridays, hit that subscribe button. If you aren't already, make sure the notification bell is on, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.